Hi, this is Simon from writtenlegalelenglish.com and welcome to this video where we're going to continue to have a look at unclear antecedents. On Monday I asked you to have a look at a couple of sentences which have unclear antecedents, and I gave you some links to pages on the internet and to my old explainer video to find out what unclear antecedents were or are if you're not familiar with them and this legal mistake. So let's get stuck into the sentences and find out what they are. So in this first sentence, or first sentences, it is evident that criminals exploit the online system to make fraudulent applications for universal credit and claim advance loans. The second sentence then continues, it is difficult for the police to identify, and it, as you can see, is the unclear antecedent. What does it refer to? Well, it's possible in this case that it might refer to one of three possible things. It might refer to criminals that exploit the online system and that it's difficult for police to identify that. It might be that it's difficult for the police to identify the fraudulent applications for the universal credit. So the police know that the criminals exploit the online system, but they don't know how to identify the fraudulent applications. Or it could be that the fraudulent applications and claiming advance loans are two different things, and that it's difficult for the police to identify the claiming of advance loans, whereas it might be easier for the police to identify exploiting the online system or the fact that fraudulent applications are being made. So really, it here causes a lot of trouble in terms of understanding, because it could legitimately refer to three things that are mentioned before in the previous sentence. So here we've really got to redraft this second sentence, use repetition, talk about exploiting the online system or making fraudulent applications or claiming advance loans, use that repetition and not be afraid of making a style error, because the repetition makes it a lot easier to understand, makes it easier for the reader to understand, and eliminates any possibility for misunderstanding by the person that reads it. And of course, as the author, you know what you're trying to say. I made this sentence up, but as the author, I knew what I was trying to say. I know which one of those three things I really meant. But of course, it's not clear to the reader. Hence, this is an unclear antecedent and it needs to be redrafted. The second sentence was, the fraudsters remain inventive in their acts and the police seem to be playing catch up and are slowly becoming more effective. And then the second sentence begins, what they will do next remains open to question. So the unclear antecedent here is they, because they could refer to the fraudsters, or it could refer to the police. So what the fraudsters will do next will remain open to question, because inherent in that could be the understanding that the fraudsters know that the police are becoming more effective. Or it could be what the police will do next, because they are becoming more effective, and how their future more effective actions will impact the fraudsters. Once again, two perfectly legitimate understandings of that initial sentence, which is caused by the use of the unclear antecedent. So once again, we need to redraft, we need to use repetition to make sure that there is no danger that this sentence could be understood. So what the fraudsters will do next remain open to question. What the police will do next remains open to question. So here, don't be afraid, at the cost of repeating myself, at the cost of repetition, don't be afraid of using repetition. It is not a style mistake to make sure that the reader understands what it is that you're trying to communicate. And so that is what unclear antecedents are. If you have a look, if you still want some more information about what unclear antecedents are, then please have a look at Google. Just type in unclear antecedents, hit enter, you're going to come up with lots of information about what unclear antecedents are, a lot more examples of unclear antecedents, what unclear antecedents, how they come about, so what substitutive forms cause unclear antecedents, And you can begin to see how big a problem this is. And this, as I mentioned in my video on Monday, I think, this is a problem for native speakers, because native speakers very often, as with any writers, you're writing quickly, you're writing under pressure, you know what's going on in your head because you've formulated your thoughts correctly, so you throw everything down onto a piece of paper, or you type it onto a screen, you know what's going on, and you make the assumption that the reader will as well. But unfortunately, legitimately, the reader can understand sentences in 1 or 2 or even 3 ways, as we saw in the previous sentence. If you've got any questions about what we've discussed in this video, please leave a comment below and I will get back to you. Remember to have a look at those links that I've linked to, and I'll see you again on Monday with some more legal English redrafting tasks for you to do.